welcome to my fake cooking show. Today we are making a bundt cake, and this is what I call Yankee Hummingbird cake. Now I don't know if you know what a hummingbird cake is, but it's pretty yummy. The first time I ever made one was for my friend Helen Harrison Coker Ham. She was just Helen Harrison Coker then, but she's the one that introduced me to the hummingbird cake. And this is my take on the hummingbird cake. I'm using 2 cups of flour. I'm using almond flour. And then I'm gonna do all the dry ingredients first, right? So, and then we've got a teaspoon, that is not a teaspoon, this is a teaspoon. Teaspoon of baking soda, in it goes. Teaspoon of powder, in it goes. Okay. And then here's where my variation kind of you might say goes astray, depending on you know, how you feel about the world of hummingbird cake. I like mine to be basically almost like a spice cake with some fruit in it, and then I'll show you my special topping when we get to that part. But I'm gonna do a quarter of a teaspoon of ginger, a quarter teaspoon of cloves, and then I'm gonna do half teaspoon of nutmeg, and then I'm gonna do a half teaspoon of cinnamon. So that's gonna give me a really good spice, lots of flavor, because this is gonna be yummy. So I've got those going, right? Okay, gonna mix those all together, get them all nice and mixed, and then I'm gonna, actually, I did not get out another bowl. So, mother is the invention. We're gonna pour all the dry ingredients into the little pot, and let's go for the wet, right? Now here's where it gets a little special. I'm gonna do 1 can of canned peaches. Yummy, right? So 1 can of canned peaches in natural juice, water, and drained. Then I'm gonna chop them up, and then I'm gonna use 1 can of crushed pineapple. That is also gonna go in there, and actually it's quite a bit, so I'm gonna take a little bit out. I'm gonna take about a quarter of that out as well, because we don't need that. And you might be surprised that I'm using pineapple, because I haven't really enjoyed pineapple or bought pineapple at all in the last year, because I went to Costa Rica and I saw where they get pineapple, and it is poisoning villages and poisoning small children, and I can't be a part of that. So I have not bought any pineapple. And when you look at it organic in the grocery store, it still is coming from Malaysia, or it's coming from Costa Rica, and in both of those places, it is done by Dole in big business, and in that, it is, well, I gotta tell you, it's hurting. It's hurting people who don't have a voice and who can't speak up against the big businesses. So 3 eggs. So in general, all of that to say, I don't have pineapple in general, and if you have another fruit that you like and that is fruity, and that apples would be fine in this as well, that you know are taken care of and in a fair way, I would encourage you to use those instead of pineapple. I happen to have a can of crushed pineapple in the back of my pantry, and in these days we go with what's in the pantry, right? So this will be our last hummingbird cake with pineapple, but here we go. And then a half teaspoon of Haitian vanilla. Okay, in it goes. So there's that. And then, you've heard me say this before, but where is it? Here it is. We use applesauce in my house instead of oil. So here's the applesauce, unsweetened, just apples in as the ingredient, and that'll cover the oil for our cake. So that's all the wet ingredients together. It's that simple. And then because I don't want the fruit to get just pureed, I'm just mixing it up. So you can see it's really, really liquidy. So this is gonna be a really liquid, moist cake, and you wanna be careful to let it bake as long as you need it to bake. Okay, let's get some of the dry ingredients in, get those mixed up. I haven't made a hummingbird cake in a really long time, but this is a Yankee Hummingbird cake because I'm a Yankee and because I've changed the recipe. I used to like to say that I would go out into the woods like, you know, Snow White and call the hummingbirds and then get them for the cake, and you just kind of give your best hummingbird call, oh, 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 and they come. And then you make sure you get all the feathers off of them before you get them into the cake. So this is really liquidy and really, really, oh, that batter tastes good. I want to make sure we get all of it mixed in, so I'm using my spatula now. I've got my bundt cake sprayed and ready. So that's all done. And I kind of feel like bundt cakes are a little bit cheating, but at the same time, it's so fun to have such a fun shape, right? And it's also just easier. There's none of this dividing the different layers, and you don't have to frost it as much. It's just, I don't know. I think it can be just as special and just as fun. So look at that golden color. I've got the oven set for 350, and this is gonna cook close to an hour. I'm gonna check it at the 35-minute mark and see how it's coming, and then from there we'll keep going. So I'm gonna, I'll piece together some pieces and you'll see it all come together, but here we go. Part 1, hummingbird cake, Yankee Hummingbird cake coming up. What's your favorite cake? Okay, friends, here's the confession. The bundt cake was too moist and did not end well. So it does not look pretty, and here's what I'm doing. I've made a coconut pecan caramel frosting. You could cheat and just use German chocolate cake frosting, but that's between you know, and your heart and Jesus. But here's what's going on. Coconut, caramel, pecan topping on top of my Yankee cake is not gonna make you sad. My Yankee Hummingbird cake. It's gonna be really rich. This would be great. Ooh, I have some really good Haitian coffee. this would be really good to use my little Italian coffee maker, put in my Haitian coffee, and then have a cup of coffee with this sad looking Yankee Hummingbird cake. But the taste is going to be yummy. Now, I'll tell you what Peyton did. Do not worry about the top of this cake. He might have, I mean, I'm just saying hypothetically, he might have hypothetically taken the top of the cake out of the bundt pan, put it in a bowl, and then maybe found some vanilla ice cream. I'm going to tell you, if someone were to do that, they probably would not be sad.
It's my husband helper move.
And there you go, from the horse's mouth. If you hear those scraping noises, that's him going back in to make sure all of it's cleaned out. He's a good guy. I'm going to keep him. Okay, friends, tell me about some of your worst baking mishaps, and I'll tell you mine. Okay, friends. Love from New Jersey. Oh, listen to this sound. Brewed Haitian coffee in my little Italian brewer. Why, yes, please. Alongside my little Yankee Hummingbird cake. Perfect Tuesday afternoon prep for Presbytery. Wish you were here. That's right. Beautiful. Not so beautiful. Yummy. Treat yourselves, my friends.